Here we go again. Welcome along to episode 102 of another foray into the Groan Zone. We are quickly approaching 1,500 downloads. We only just celebrated reaching 100 episodes. It's all down to you out there, dear groaners. You keep groaning, and so will we. It all keeps the Groan Zone fueled and ready for more groany action. What have we got in store for you? Well, it's a full show for you this week, with examples such as Why Oh Why and Creepy Corner. This week's games are Double Down Dummies, Gimme the Question, and Who, What, or Where the Hell Am I? Speaking of which, it's game time now, right off the bat, with Gimme the Question. Everyone who's listening live is ready. You're listening at home, groaner. You're clearly ready. Here we go. Round 1. Your answer is Vernon Dalhart. Your questions are as follows. Option A. Who invented the concept of Venn diagrams in 1804? B. Who was the first country singer to have a national hit in America? Or C. Who was the last person to be executed by the gas chamber in West Virginia? Go Groaners Live, give me your answers please. At home, have a think, pause, answer, unpause. Groaners playing live have flown straight in there. They've both gone for C. Any more? C's flying in, C's flying in. Couple of A's, couple of B's. Nice even, well, say even. Nice little spread there. Taking it over to round number 2 now. Your answer is 2024 Part 5. That's PT5. Your questions are A. What is the name of Earth's new mini-moon? B. What was the name of a series of books that were written in the 60s that were said to detail natural disasters in the 21st century? Or C. What is the name of a rocket that has been sent into deep space to launch a new satellite to follow the same path as Voyager 1. Groaners Live, answers please. Those at home, you know what to do. Oh, a split for the first time of the episode. We have a split between B's and A's from the Groaners listening live. Okay, round 3 coming in now. Your answer is Per Gessle. That's Pergessle, with a space between the Per and the Gessle. Your questions are A. Who is a Spanish songwriter who wrote songs for Julio Iglesias? B. Who was one half of the group Roxette? Or C. Which French songwriter was sued in 1954 for plagiarism? Groaners Live, answers please. Those at home, you've been here long enough, you know what to do. Everyone's thrown A into the ring so far. Any more? 1B and 1C. Okay, any more before I cut it off there? Nope. Cut off there. Were points given up for Gimme the Question this week? You'll find out later in the show. We've gamed now, so I must groan. I'm also suffering from toothache groaners, so for the next few weeks, if I'm a bit under the weather and recording, my apologies. But Nurofen, ibuprofen, paracetamol, etc. will get you through the day. My groan time. Sunday, 11:59pm. You're either awake or in bed by this time. You know what's coming when 12am hits. The weekend is officially over and Monday's on our way. And you've got to go back to work. That is, unless you work weekends anyway. Mondays, yes. We all have that feeling. The weekend feels like a memory from a distant past. Your alarm goes off and you want to cry. You feel drained that you could do with another week in bed. Go away Monday. Hurry up Friday. Little side note, groaners, Friday is the day where we record at 8:30 Greenwich Mean Time every Friday, every week. Being overly tired. You go to bed early thinking you'll get plenty of sleep, which you do. The alarm goes off in the morning and you feel as though you've been hit in the head by a hammer. You just cannot shake being tired and it stays with you and drains your energy all day. Worst case scenario though, you feel it all week. With my groans hoovered up into the endless void that is a groan zone, we'll hear from one of you later. Fancy some creepy groaners? I do too. onwards to Admin Nicole's Creepy Corner. This week's story is called Time to Split. Valencia used the veil to return them back to where they were, but not in the same spot. She had to get them far enough away so that Lionel and Dr. Quack wouldn't find them so easily. Before they left, the Darkness asked Valencia if he could take care of the old man. They had been together for so many years, and the old man was very loyal. He was a good friend, something the Darkness was grateful to have after spending eternity alone. Valencia agreed and thanked the Darkness for giving the old man a proper funeral. They landed on a hill covered in flowers. The sun was setting, so they must have been gone a while. Hard to tell when you're in a place where it's nothing but darkness, after all. In the distance they could just about make out the building where they once were, along with all that went down there. As the sun set and the moon began to rise for the night, a wave of darkness enveloped the building, and in a brief flash that darkness turned into fire. Fire that resonated with endless sadness and rage, burning as black as the night sky above. Finally, the darkness was able to take revenge on the death of its only friend, something it could never have done with a body of its own. To think of how powerful the darkness is now, that its core is no longer chained to one place, gave Viola and Coco a reason to worry. They had strength though. They had to. Valencia was dark now. She was its core, and even a part of that darkness was split off to protect its own realm. They still had to choose to believe in her. If you lose belief and trust in the ones who matter, then what do you really have left after all? Gaia, once again, continued to sleep through everything, and Coco could only be glad that she wouldn't even remember any of this. It was time to go their separate ways, but one day they would come together. Perhaps for another war, but that is life after all. You can wish for peace all you like, but if you're not prepared to fight to keep that peace, then war will ravage everything. This war was different though. This was for the sake of the new world, to erase the ones who failed to destroy the old world, to avenge those who spent too much time fighting, to give those they loved a second chance at life in a much better world than the one they left. Valencia and Viola watched as Coco and Dread walked off down the hill with Gaia. Hopefully one day she would let them use her powers just enough. If they could find Marianne, they would have the realm of nightmares on their side. Nightmares, nature, darkness, and teeth. Maybe even death. It was a strange kind of war coming up, but if they could have all of that on their side, then just maybe they would have a chance to win. Time would tell after all. Viola took Valencia's hand and reassured her it would all be alright. Something Viola often felt she had to do, as despite being older, she was still a child on the outside. This made it hard for her to be taken seriously. Yet in all the years that passed since everything began, Valencia still looked like a teenager. She stopped aging soon after becoming a tooth fairy, yet no one truly realised for a while after. So where do we find death, do you think? Or do we need to make him come to us? Viola asked. That's when Valencia remembered a story the Darkness told her. He said if she ever needed to find death, then follow the ghost parade. Be warned, however, never go in the middle of the parade. Stay on the outside of the lanterns or you'll be trapped forever. The only problem was that Valencia couldn't remember where to find the ghost parade. She tried turning back into a raven to get a bird's eye view, but even then, she couldn't see any sign of what to look for. All they could really do was to pick a direction and start walking. Viola looked at her wings and remembered how she hadn't been able to fly herself since the incident with the mayor. It was something she had missed. Then of course, there was one thing everyone was missing. The one darkness that still lingered in their hearts they keep trying to forget. The one thing that was constantly haunting them that they wouldn't or couldn't talk about. They knew they had to focus on the plan, focus on the war that was coming. They had no time to be upset or angry or emotional. This was what they needed. This was for the old man. They had to focus on stopping the war. They could only hope she would be alright until then. For you see, the old man getting stabbed was nothing more than a distraction. Not a random attack, just something to keep eyes off Dr. Quack as he took Ivy and threw her into one of his containers. Something to stop her being in the way and to keep the snow globe holding her father in one piece. There was nothing they could have done. It was too late when they realised, and they couldn't save her. Not yet anyway. Valencia told Ivy to hold on. She swore to come back for her. One day, they will get her back and all of this will end. Once again, Admin Nicole took the reins and took us down a creepy rabbit hole. I know I want more as these stories just get better and better. But now I'm pulling us back with a dip into Oh Unlucky. Now you may or may not agree with this, Groaners, okay? So do bear with me. This week's Oh Unlucky goes out to the Captain Moore Foundation, which is named after the man who raised money for charity by doing 100 Zimmer frame laps for for his 100th birthday during COVID. A legend of a man. Really kind, generous, everything. Unfortunately, greed got in the way after he died, and investigations were done to a family who were dipping into the funds. Donations dropped massively due to this in recent times. They used to get thousands upon thousands, now they're only getting a little bit, shall we say. This will teach the family members not to lie and cheat. You were caught out, and now the memory and charity of a good man is sullied. Unlucky to some of his family who clearly wanted the money for themselves. May Captain Moore rest in peace though, you absolute legend. Wishing you luck now, groaners, as we get a bit Darwin-y with Double Down Dummies. Round 1. Draco of Athens was an Athenian lawmaker whose life came to an end in 620 BC. But what put a long-gone lawmaker into Double Down Dummies' infamy? Was it option A? He got drunk the night before Athens Senate was in session and fell out of his second floor window of his home. B. He attended theatre one night and was thrown so many gifts of cloaks and hats that they actually smothered him to death. Or was it C? During Senate lunch, he unfortunately choked to death. No one knew the Heimlich maneuver back then, so he died in front of them. Go Groaners Live, give me answers please. Those at home, press pause, answer, unpause. Everyone's flung in B's there. A mass outpouring for B. Any more groaners? You got a couple of seconds. No more. Round 2. This occurred on the 29th of August, I'll get my numbers right here, groaners. 29th of August, 886 BC. Basil I was a Byzantine emperor in the year 886 BC and was taking part in a deer hunt when tragedy struck. But what happened to lead to his death? Was it option A? He was shot by mistake by an arrow from a nobleman who missed the deer. The wound caused an infection and he perished not long after. Was option B? His belt became tangled in the antlers of a deer during the hunt. He was dragged for 16 miles. Unfortunately though, he contracted a fever afterwards and passed away. Or was it C? His horse bucked him after being spooked by a snake and he snapped his neck upon landing. Go Groaners Live, answers please. Those at home, you know what to do. We have C's flying in, A's flying in, B's flying in. We have a spread all the way across the board, groaners. Okay, what about you at home, groaner? You'll find out later if you got points, as will those who are playing live. I love a bit of Double Down Dummies. But now, the age-old question is coming our way with, why oh why? So a Texas man paid $4,000 for an autographed Taylor Swift guitar at auction recently, and he smashed it to pieces with a hammer. Apparently, Taylor Swift upset many Texans who support Trump by backing Kamala Harris for president earlier this month. I'm not getting the show involving American politics, groaners, don't worry. But come on, that could have gone to a deserving fan who could have put a bid in, you absolute idiot. Plus it's $4,000 you're not going to get back. I mean, did you think you got a good investment by smashing it? I don't think so. Doing stupid actions to prove a stupid point. I just have to ask, why oh why? Now we've asked why oh why, and I've also groaned earlier in the show, which can only mean one thing. One of you out there in Groanland get to have your groan read out now with the audience groan. This week's audience groan flew in direct via email from Sharon C. of Washington State University, USA. She groans, "Hi Mystery. I don't know how things are over there in the UK, but here in the States, people with road rage are absolutely insane and will go nuts at the slightest mistake you do on the road. My friend forgot to put a handicap parking badge in the window, and when we came out of the car, there was a man standing there screaming at us that we had to move as we were taking up a spot. Even when we showed him the badge, he was going ballistic for apparent stupidity. Some people just need to take it down a level. He was so red-faced, I was going to call 911 for both medics and the police. He did eventually calm down, but wow. Sharon, I've seen road rage firsthand, and it isn't a pretty sight, as with what you've experienced. I don't drive, but it's probably the same as gamer rage. Unfortunately though, whilst gamers are split by distance, road rages are not, and it's equally bad here in the UK. Cheers for the groan, but how can you take part like Sharon did? You can give us your groans, you can give us your why or whys, or unlucky stories or lucky stories, your what-thers. You can add in feedback, you can nominate a hero or zero of the week, but you can do it all via the following. You can send an email off to the groanzonepod@gmail.com. You can look up the podcast on Facebook groups under the Groan Zone Podcast. You can join us on Discord every Friday at 8:30 Greenwich Mean Time. If times should change, we'll notify you well in advance. You can message admin Nicole on Nicole Amos via Facebook Messenger, or my good self, Mystery Groaner, that's me. And lastly, you can drop a comment on any episode, any of the now hundreds of episodes now we have. Place a comment, I'll have a look, and then your groan, or whatever you've put in, could feature on the show. Advancing onwards now, we come to our final game of the week show with Where the Hell Am I? Another week, another pictorial game. This week's Brainbuster, the picture will feature on Podbean. Unfortunately, I still can't get that problem fixed where no one looking on Spotify can see the image. You'll have to come to the Podbean webpage where this is hosted and have a look at the image. Your clue is, the country I am in is also well known for cricket. So you're looking to name the country where the building is. Okay? Not the actual building, just where it is. Of course, if you know the name of the building, feel free to email it in. The answer will come in next week's show. And now, we roll out to a man who is a complete zero if ever I wrote about one. A guy behind a romance fraud scam in which a Medway woman was scammed out of more than $120,000 has been jailed for 5 years. He posed as an army officer involved in covert operations in Mali who had a consignment of gold and asked via online chat if the woman could help him import the gold. He conned her out of the money over 16 transactions. For such a cruel crime, he was sent down. What a complete tool. Absolutely zero certified. And I hope the woman doesn't lose her faith in people. There are good people out there. There really are. And now we came to the part of the show where you find out if you got points, Groaners, or if you didn't. It's game answers time. Give me the question. Round 1. Your answer was Vernon Dalhart. If you went for any other question apart from B, you're wrong. The song Wreck of Old 97 was considered to be the first actual country hit in 1924 for Vernon Dalhart. Round 2. Your answer was 2024 Part 5, or PT5 I should say. Your correct question was A. What is the name of Earth's new mini-moon? It's an asteroid that has been pulled into our orbit temporarily recently. And round 3. Your answer was Père-Gisele. Your question was, or I should say, your correct question was B. Who is one half of the group Roxette? He is Swedish and wrote 3 number 1 hits for the group. Double down dummies now. Round 1. If you went for any other outcome other than B, you're wrong. You'd think people would have helped him by getting the items off him, but no, they just kept throwing the cloaks and hats, and our poor man there got smothered. Round 2. Again, if you went for any other option other than B, you're wrong. He was dragged for 16 miles as I said, and he did contract a fever afterwards and passed away. And lastly, from last week, Admin Nicole's anagram anxiety. Last week's anagram was Abby Adapt Hanoi. Your clue involves creatures of the feathered variety. The answer was Anatidaphobia. Beats me, I'm no animal expert, but any of you get it out there, let us know, Groaners. Just before we go, we've had time for a tribute. The Blade movies are some of my favourite movies. Well, maybe not Trinity so much. Sadly, Chris Christopherson, who played Abraham Whistler, aka Blade's mentor in the movies, passed away recently, but he was known for various other roles such as the original version of A Star Is Born with Barbara Streisand, as well as being a country and western singer. Rest in peace, sir. Thanks for the entertainment and condolences to his family which he left behind. Next week is our Black History Month special, so tune in then. Thanks for listening, Groaners. See you next week or whenever you're listening. Take care. Bye-bye. And asked via online chat if she could help her. I've made that wrong. He posed as an army officer.